Hello, my name is Judy Swisher. I'm the author of the PAES Practical Assessment Exploration System, and I would like to welcome you to a series of PAES training videos. These videos will teach you how the PAES assessment works and show you how to get results that truly improve and predict employment potential.
How many tests have you taken in your lifetime? Probably too many to count. Think about what those tests say about you and your professional talents. If you're like most people, you're capable of so much more than your test results might suggest. This couldn't be more true for students with special needs. Traditional paper-pencil tests don't successfully assess their abilities. In fact, a repetitive cycle of traditional testing can actually be detrimental in the long term. Traditional tests often remind students with special needs what they can't do, rather than assess them on what they can. This negative reinforcement destroys motivation and self-confidence, and ultimately leaves many of their strengths and abilities unrecognized. Meanwhile, traditional tests don't address employment potential, which is one of the primary goals for transitioning into adulthood. To uncover their strengths, students with special needs need a different kind of assessment. They need a setting where they can discover and build upon their true potential. PAES is a unique transition assessment of employment potential for students who have special needs. PAES stands for Practical Assessment Exploration System. Using a simulated work environment, the PAES lab builds for each student a data-driven analysis of their interests, strengths, and skills for employment. The key strategy for PAES springs from a simple but unique idea: bring the workplace into the classroom. In a PAES lab, teachers become workplace supervisors, and students become employees. How better to determine a student's employment potential than to simulate jobs they might actually have in the future? There are three main benefits to this hands-on approach. First, it allows students to demonstrate abilities that would otherwise go unnoticed on paper-pencil question-answer surveys. Traditional tests, which are often challenging for students with special needs, are not part of the PAES assessment process. Second, students don't experience typical test-taking anxiety because they're not aware they're being assessed. Assessment in the PAES lab is indistinguishable from the daily instruction students receive. Finally, the PAES simulated workplace setting helps students develop workplace independence, which is considered by both employers and special educators to be the most important factor in doing well on a job. The goal in a PAES assessment is to encourage students to show what they can do on their own with as little help as possible, only asking for or receiving assistance if necessary. This approach creates a more accurate, more customized picture of a student's potential while inspiring them to achieve more. The PAES Lab is a performance-based application for both curriculum and assessment. It teaches and assesses at the same time. Unlike other assessments, the PAES program is not a repeated sequence of instruction and then evaluation. Evaluation and instruction build off of each other throughout the PAES period, or shift, and over the course of the semester. This customized evaluation model yields precise data that students and their IEP teams can use to craft appropriate post-high school transition goals and objectives. Unlike other tests, PAES provides three types of assessment in one. First, PAES is an authentic assessment. The PAES lab is set up to mimic typical community-based job settings. It tests using skills found in those settings, and it occurs in a context where these skills are typically required. Students, acting like employees, perform jobs like wiring circuits, fitting pipes, making change, measuring ingredients, and sorting mail. Second, PAES is an embedded assessment, where assessment and instruction are indistinguishable, allowing the assessment to occur unobtrusively. When students are not aware that they're being assessed, they can focus entirely on the job in front of them, and more fully show the supervisor what they're really capable of. Third, PAES is a formative assessment. It allows supervisors to interact with PAES employees, identify immediate instructional needs, and adjust instruction accordingly. The PAES assessment adapts to the needs of the employee, making it ideal for students with special needs. For instance, PAES allows for accommodations and modifications and tracks them in the final report. Meanwhile, for employees with significant needs who are not yet candidates for competitive employment, the system provides alternative assessment methods that help inform placements in supported employment. In the PAES lab, if an employee cannot perform an entire job independently, supervisors can either provide increased level of assistance or break the job down into subtasks to determine which parts of the job the employee can do. PAES was developed and perfected in a special needs classroom in the early 1980s by Dr. Judith Swisher, a teacher in Kansas. Initially, she was just trying to keep her students engaged, but the results quickly opened up a whole new way of looking at job placement.
I had 5 classes of students who didn't want to be in school. They could behave, they just didn't want to behave. And I knew that if they could get their hands on real things that they see people do out in the community that they don't really have a chance to do, that would affect how they behaved in the room, and that's what I was after.
Over the next decade, Dr. Swisher perfected the PAES program in her classroom. Finally, she formalized it into a curriculum that could be shared with other districts. PAES grew rapidly. Soon, orders for the PAES lab assessment began to grow beyond what Dr. Swisher and her daughter could put together in the basement of their home. That's how Talent Assessment, Inc. became the licensed publisher and distributor of PAES.
What sets PAES apart as a performance-based assessment is the fact that this assessment is so data-driven. In one semester, a student can have as many as 1,500 data points.
In a peer-reviewed validity study published in the Education Measurement Journal, PAES scores were compared with the scores of 2 traditional paper-pencil aptitude tests. PAES outperformed them both. PAES scores were proven to be a significantly better predictor of employment potential 3 to 5 years after the assessment. Another study revealed that PAES teachers find the PAES assessment to be significantly more useful than achievement tests and employability inventories for making 9 types of transition-related decisions. This study also found that the more familiar teachers are with PAES, the more useful they find it to be. So far, PAES has converted over 1,500 classrooms, and the list continues to grow. It's designed to work with contemporary special needs education requirements. It augments students' individualized education programs, IEPs, and it provides a comprehensive profile of the functional employability skill information needed for the IDEA mandated summary of performance. PAES does have one thing in common with traditional assessments. The PAES assessment needs to have accurately recorded scores to produce valid results. Anyone who records assessment scores must be trained to follow proper implementation procedures for assigning PAES scores, recording PAES scores, and entering scores in the PAES scoring software. To help ensure that your assessment reports are valid, we recommend that all PAES staff become authorized PAES evaluators. The process is easy to complete along with this training video series. The authorization process requires you to complete a brief set of review questions after the completion of each training video, and then one comprehensive online test covering the PAES assessment program. This video training series has 15 installments that will together familiarize you with every aspect of the PAES lab. Welcome to the PAES Lab, an Introduction is the video you are currently watching. PAES Lab Overview introduces you to the forms, materials, and terminology in the PAES Lab. PAES Lab Management breaks down the work procedures in the PAES Lab. PAES Lab Scoring Parts 1 and 2 review everything you need to know about assigning and recording scores. Daily Points, Rewards, and Incentives shows you how to incentivize students to perform well in the PAES Lab. Video 7 shows you the simplified process of assigning PAES jobs and tracking progress in the PAES Lab. Video 8, the Workplace Soft Skills Inventory, covers the system for assessing workplace soft skills and potential barriers to success. Video 9, Achieving Accurate PAES Assessment Reports, summarizes the important considerations for achieving accurate assessments. The Performance Summary Report video familiarizes you with the final assessment employees receive by participating in the PAES Lab. Video 11, After the Dust Settles, provides a roadmap for navigating your first weeks and months of being a supervisor in the PAES Lab. Video 12, Assessing Employees with Significant Needs, introduces you to the tools that help you inform supported employment placement. Entering data on the computer teaches you how to use the PAES scoring software. Integrating PAES with the transition planning process shows you how to use the PAES Performance Summary Report in a student's transition planning process. What's Next goes over the final steps you should take before you open your lab to employees. In the next video, you will be learning the basic materials and terminology you will be using in the PAES Lab. Thanks!